Tape my eyes open to force reality. Why can't you just let me eat my weight in glee? Hush.
Welcome, World Ablaze listeners, to episode 76. I'm recording this on May 11th, 2025, and happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. Thanks so much for supporting the show, everybody. Please go to worldablazepodcast.com. Send me a little love, send me a message. You could find all the shows there that are released. You could pick and choose whichever podcast aggregator you want to use, whether that's like Spotify, Apple, Good Pods, Podcast Addict, whatever you like. It's all there. Now, before I move on, I do want to say this. This is going to be a single subject or a single topic episode. I usually try to cover 2 to 3 different topics, but I felt it was very important to address a nagging, burning question that the entire world is concerned with. And I mean, if you're not concerned with this, then you may have a problem, or you may actually be the problem. But what is going on with the Epstein files? What is going on with the Epstein files? That's what we're going to talk about today. There's been a lot of questions. The Trump administration, Trump himself, it's been about, I think as of this recording, 112 days Trump has been in office. It was promised that on day one, the Epstein files would be released. Pam Bondi herself, AG Pam Bondi herself, said the same thing. But to this day, we haven't seen anything that is blowing our lids off. There hasn't been anything released or revealed that is new information, and not even information that allegedly was declassified, like that declassified information also. We all have a feeling that we haven't seen it all. In fact, I know we haven't seen it all because the videos and admissions are coming out. They're coming out in news interviews. They're coming out in press releases. They're coming out in social media posts. People are starting to wonder, what's the holdup? Why haven't there been any arrests? Now, Epstein himself was arrested, and he mysteriously suicided himself. And then we have Ghislaine Maxwell, who was arrested, his confidant, the one that would go out and basically attract the minors to be sex trafficked and groomed. And she's still in jail. She's alive. She hasn't killed herself yet. And still nothing. What are we waiting on? Did they get any information from her? Does she even care? No. Is she even fearing for her own life? Maybe she's the one who holds all the cards. Maybe the reason she is alive and Epstein is dead is because maybe she was the actual person behind the curtain, pulling the levers like the Wizard of Oz. If anybody's ever seen that, the Wizard of Oz. Maybe she's that person. Maybe she was the one pulling the levers, pulling the strings on the marionette, as they would say. And maybe that's the reason she's alive. And she's still now trying to negotiate terms. A person who has been convicted, a person who is in jail for assisting Epstein in the sex trafficking of young girls and even young boys. And let's not forget about Epstein Island, an island dedicated to basically raping little kids, having sex with little kids, extreme debauchery. And it's not just that was done, it's that world leaders were involved. Okay, hold on. Allegedly involved. Right. And we're talking everybody who's been accused, from Bill Clinton to Prince Andrew. Even it's even been said that Donald Trump was involved. Now, that accusation has been denied, but just everybody's been denying the accusations. And that's the one that nobody wants to believe, whether or not Donald Trump was involved. And, he's been in a few pictures, but outside of that, there hasn't been much more. But that has not been the case when it comes to other people such as Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, and again, Prince Andrew. There was even rumors of Qatari princes or Arabian princes involved. This thing goes deep. It goes deep for sure. And maybe that's why nothing has been done. Maybe this is the reason nothing has been done. It's because people are scared. Maybe there's just too much blackmail out there on everybody, or even on each other. And they're all fighting like hell to make sure none of themselves become exposed. Possibly. In fact, that makes a lot of sense, really, when you think about it, right? But I have always said, look, even if Donald Trump is involved, I'm going to tell you right now, I would rather see this whole thing collapse, blow up, burn to the ground. I say expose them all, because there is no reason whatsoever to support sex trafficking. There's no reason at all to support the sex trafficking and abuse of minors whatsoever. The idea that it's acceptable to take the excuses, to take in and allow them to make excuse after excuse as to why there hasn't been any arrests. And this issue has become the sticking point when it comes to the Trump administration and Trump's first 112 days. This is the one that people are starting to say, look, I get you did some great things, but this Epstein list, this Epstein client list, these arrests that haven't been made, this is a big deal. If anything, this is one of the major deals, the major issues as to why President Trump was actually elected. It was the promise of exposing and cleaning the swamp. It was the promise of holding everyone accountable. No one above the law, right? And yet here we are, still waiting and waiting and waiting, and it just hasn't happened. And what's crazy, what's even more revealing about all this is there can't really be any plausible excuse, because they have files going back on Epstein. This whole thing, I think the earliest reports they have of some kind of abuse or something going on with Epstein go back to 2005. And I'm going to get into that later. I have a bunch of clips and articles that will go over and point out some of these key issues. And I'm going to jump around on the timeline a bit just for the sake of flow. But bear in mind that everything that I am going to present or play or speak of is truth. It's facts. You can look it up. It's not hidden, especially since, if we all recall, that Ron DeSantis himself in Florida declassified the transcripts and evidence, made all of this public in relation to the 2006 trial involving the accusations against Epstein. And here we are, and Pam Bondi still says they're on her desk. We're still looking at it. Oh, we didn't realize how many documents there were. What do you mean you didn't realize, Pam? Were you not in charge in Florida? Were you not involved in any of that? How do you not know that there would be all these documents? And then she tried to remember everybody that she tried to accuse the FBI of withholding information. Anyway, before I get into all of that, little housekeeping here. Okay. Lots of people have asked me more than once, on way more than one occasion, as to whether or not I'm going to do video episodes. And my answer to that is this. I am involved in video episodes, but this is how I'm involved. So for everybody who listens to this show, if you're not aware, you will be now. I have another show that I co-host with my brother, Random Thoughts with Manuel and George. Again, that's Random Thoughts with Manuel and George. That show has gone to straight video episodes. We decided that because the two of us, the way we communicate, our banter, and the fact that we react to a lot of videos and clips, and sometimes, real-time reactions to news stories as they're released, that it was time for that to go straight to video. So I ask all of you, if you like what I do, if you're listening to the show, I'm sure you do, then support Random Thoughts with Manuel and George. Now, there is a YouTube channel and a Rumble channel. And to be quite honest, we are really starting to make some gains on Rumble. For some reason, I'm saying for some reason, but we all know YouTube plays games. But, we're not really doing so well on YouTube. But the channels, both those channels were just put up a few days ago. Like, I totally scrapped our previous YouTube efforts and we redid those channels. So I am on video there. And I'm going to warn you, Random Thoughts, we're a lot more loose. I talk a lot more crap, and I use a lot of colorful language. If you're okay with any of that, then by all means, check it out. Support Random Thoughts with Manuel and George. And I know you'll enjoy that. Now, as far as this podcast, as far as this show, World Ablaze with George Fonts, I am going to do video episodes. But for now, I've decided that I'm going to limit those to just the episodes and where I have guests. And yes, guests are being booked. Yes, guest episodes are coming out. And yes, we are already starting to record those. So I will give you more information on those as they're released. I will give you more information on both the YouTube and Rumble channels for this show, World Ablaze with George Fonts, as soon as that is made ready and available. And I'm comfortable with the quality of those video episodes. I want to make sure that whatever I put out and whatever I present to you remains the quality that you expect. Okay. So there's some housekeeping. Appreciate everybody's support. Please support Random Thoughts with Manuel and George, and also be on the lookout for video episodes of World Ablaze with George Fonts coming soon. All right. Now I got the little housekeeping out of the way. Let's get back to what's going on with the Epstein files. So FBI Director Kash Patel was recently questioned in a hearing about what the hell's going on. I have a clip here of Senator John Kennedy asking Kash Patel, "Are you going to release the files in my own lifetime?" Kind of funny, but I mean, he makes a good point. Check this out.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself, or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When do you think you'll have it done, Cash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects victims and also doesn't put out into the ether information that is irrelevant for production of the public, such as CSAM.
Okay. Okay. So, long story short, or getting to the point, I guess, Cash doesn't have an answer. Sounds like he's avoiding answering the question directly. And the answer involving protecting victims and releasing irrelevant information out into the ether to the general public, you know what? I'm going to chalk that up to a bunch of bullshit. Now, I'm not going to attempt to tell you what Cash is thinking or what his actual answer may be, like in his own head. But this isn't like everything that we're talking about regarding Epstein is not new. Again, going back to 2005, this has been known for a long time. We're talking 20 years now. 20 years of evidence and information and documentation, videos. And here we are, 20 years later, 2025, and we still have no arrests, no answers whatsoever. I mean, they got the ringleaders, right? Epstein, but allegedly committed suicide. I'm going to keep saying alleged because, yeah, if you listen to the show, you know that that's all bullshit. And then we have Ghislaine Maxwell, who's been arrested, and still nothing came of that arrest either. Like nothing has happened. It's been 20 years since 2005, from the first reports, the court cases in Florida in 2006. So that's, here we are, and still nothing, Cash. Cash, talking to you directly. Cash Patel, everyone wanted you in office. Everybody backed you to be the director of the FBI. And thus far, where are we at? Now, the FBI did have a big win recently. They arrested over 200 some odd people connected with pedophile rings and child pornography. And listen, that is awesome. That's amazing. And we're not going to take that away whatsoever. That is definitely a win. But again, where are we at with this Epstein file? And Pam Bondi was questioned and asked the same thing. And this was her response in relation to the hearing that I just played and where Cash Patel was questioned. This is what Pam Bondi had to say about that.
No, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call him later and find out.
So, again, Pam, there's tens of thousands of files and videos. There has to have been 20 years, right? This thing has been going back for many years. How are you going to tell me you're still going through the evidence? The evidence that's been piling up since 2005. That's not the answer, Pam. Were you not the same person that told us you had all the documentation on your desk? Weren't you the same person that was so proud to hand out these freaking binders of documentation to these social media influencers, these big X accounts? I mean, what that right there was oh my Lord, that was a ridiculous move for the White House to make a play against the media, which, by the way, I'm not in support of big media necessarily. Believe me, I'm not. But for them to say that it's more plausible, it's more believable, they trust these X account holders more with this information than vetted journalists. And not all journalists are scum, by the way. There's some good ones out there that they absolutely could have worked with. But the reason they did this was to say, hey, look, we're making progress. Look at what we're doing. And instead of trusting the leftist media, the media that is against the White House and the Trump administration, we're going to give it to these influencers. You know what those influencers did with it? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You know why? Because you didn't give them anything. There was nothing in the binders. It was all show. It was just a big show. So, Pam, where are we at with this? Are you doing anything? People are starting to question as to whether or not Pam Bondi is an effective AG. They're starting to question as to whether or not she's actually living up to her expectations and doing the damn job. And it doesn't matter what side of the political aisle on, because both Democrats and Republicans are saying the same thing. Where's the results? Where's the results? I mean, you can't keep dangling the carrot. You can't keep stringing everyone along by throwing a win here and there, which is great. Okay, you arrested 200 pedophile, child pornography ring people. Yeah, absolutely a win. But every time the Epstein files get brought up and they start to feel the pressure, they dangle another carrot. They like, hey, okay, I know you're following this one here and this is the one you want, but look, I got a fresh one right here. Check this story out. Look at what we're doing. That's great. It's just misdirection and distraction. Why are they holding off on arresting people? Again, since 2005, they have evidence going back that far. You're telling me in the 20-year period that you are just now investigating and looking at all these tapes? And can I be quite honest? Nobody is asking you to release the names of the victims. We're just looking for the damn arrests. That's what we're looking for. Look, if you don't believe, or maybe haven't even heard that this information has been out there since 2005 or so, and here's some articles that I brought up that were released in, I think, 2024 here. I have one here from the Alternative Press. This one is dated July 1st, 2024. Headline: Florida prosecutors knew Epstein raped teenage girls 2 years before cutting a deal. And this is related to the transcripts that were ordered to be released regarding the 2006 trial. Goes on to read, Florida prosecutors knew the late millionaire and financier Jeffrey Epstein sexually assaulted teenage girls 2 years before they cut a plea deal that has long been criticized as too lenient and a missed opportunity to imprison him a decade earlier, according to the transcripts that were released on Monday. And that was as of this report. And also, the Palm Beach Post out there in Florida, their headline, same thing. Jeffrey Epstein, 2006 grand jury documents are public. Read for yourself. Okay. And this one was released on July 1st, 2024, and then updated on July 3rd, 2024. Okay. This one here, this is what it says. The transcripts of the 2006 Jeffrey Epstein grand jury that resulted in only one solicitation of prostitution charge against him are below. So I'm going to leave this link in the show notes so that you can go ahead and look at this one, because in this report, they have a direct link. Well, not even just a link. Like the documents they just show up on their site. Like you can just go through them. You can download them. You can, whatever. They're right there. You can save them. So you can go through that. But also attached to this is a video. And there's, well, it's not really a video. It's an audio recording. But I'm going to go ahead and play some of this audio recording because this addresses this exact situation. So I'm going to play that right now so you can listen to what they have to say in regard to these transcripts.
After hearing about the sex abuse Jeffrey Epstein committed on a 14-year-old girl in his Palm Beach mansion, the prosecutors and jurors tasked with holding him accountable seemed set on teaching his victim a lesson instead. Grand jury transcripts released Monday in a lawsuit by the Palm Beach Post, part of the USA Today network, contain unusual exchanges between prosecutors and a victim they called to testify. The information is public after a years-long legal battle following the Post lawsuit pushing for the release of the transcripts in 2019. I discussed that and more of the findings from the transcripts with Palm Beach Post investigations editor Holly Baltz. Holly, thanks for hopping on the excerpt today.
Happy to be here.
So, Holly, I want to just start here. Why did you and the Palm Beach Post feel these documents were so important to file this initial lawsuit in 2019?
In 2019, we did an investigation of the first ever criminal case against Jeffrey Epstein. It all began here in 2005 when the stepmother of a young girl reported to Palm Beach police that she thought her daughter had been molested by a wealthy guy. And, we looked at this grand jury in 2006 because it came up with only one solicitation of prostitution charge against Jeffrey Epstein. And after reading the police reports, they found multiple victims of rape, molestation, all that sort of thing. We learned from sources that the state attorney, Barry Krischer, had torpedoed his own case.
Well, so if that's not revealing, I don't know what is. The fact that they uncovered that there were multiple victims involved way back then in this 2006 case, and the admission that they've been looking into Epstein way before this case, way before 2006. They've been looking into him for a while and wanted to nail him. And the prosecutor, Barry Krischer, I'll let you look him up and dig into that because I don't want to make this show too long. But he basically, as she said, torpedoed his own case. He threw his own case. He tried to make his own witness look like uncredible. And the result is Epstein really got off easy. Although, I mean, if we fast forward, he did allegedly, suicide himself, right? So how is it that given even just what you heard, this clip I played, and that was from a USA Today interview, even after hearing that, how is it that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel keep making excuses as to the fact that they're reviewing, they're going through documents, there's just so much we don't know what to do? This has been going on for well over 20 years, all right? But hey, look, here's a secret recording of Pam Bondi at a restaurant. Someone had a camera on, probably a cell phone cam or mobile phone cam, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. But listen to this.
Do you know when the Epstein files are going to get released?
We hope soon. The FBI has been
Okay.
So, any dates?
No, you know what it is? There are tons and thousands of videos.
Yeah.
And it's all with little kids. So they have to go through every one.
Okay, Pam. So, right. Tens of thousands of videos, and they're all little kids. Okay, fair point. But again, we're not asking you to reveal the victims to the public. We're asking you to use the evidence you have to make arrests. Whole different thing. We don't have to know the victims. And if they're children, were children, whatever, look, it's up to the victims to allow you to release that information and say, yeah, I'm going to step up and I'm going to allow you to use my name, to use my story and release that to the public so that the public can connect the dots themselves, so the public can feel the connection to this horrid act, this crazy, insane case. But even then, that doesn't matter. We don't need to know that, Pam. Make the damn arrests. Make the arrest. And look, here's Elon Musk on Joe Rogan. All right. Recent episode, Musk on Joe Rogan, where Joe asked a question. And you got to believe that Musk has some inside information. I mean, look, he's part of the president's team right now. Even though whatever he's doing with Doge is good, it's about to end. But regardless, I'm sure there's some inside baseball here. I'm sure he has some inside info on what's going on. But here's Joe Rogan asking Musk about this.
Known Epstein clients who are obviously extremely powerful, powerful politically and very wealthy, are Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, and Reid Hoffman.
Okay, I'm going to keep playing this clip, but sounds like that might be your answer, or might be our answer. Pam's not going to admit this, but according to Musk, there's some very, very, very powerful people that, and we all know this. It's like they're not. You can't even hide it anymore. Maybe that's why this isn't being released. All the pressures, everything going on. They have influence over the people handling the documentation. Maybe Pam Bondi is fighting an internal war to get this done. But still, I still say this has been going on well over 20 years. But I'm going to continue this clip.
And some others too, but those three. So, why was Reid Hoffman so intent on destroying Trump?
Do you think it's because they're worried about the list coming out?
Yeah, one of the reasons. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm like, this is, yeah, so.
It's so frustrating to be sitting in a situation where the list isn't coming out.
Well, it better come out, hopefully tomorrow.
Why'd they release bullshit today?
I don't know.
What's the point in giving these people like a happy folder to wave around in front of the camera with nothing in it that's new? It doesn't make any sense. It's not encouraging.
Like I said, it's the tough thing that they've got is, they've been made captain of a ship with a hostile crew.
All right, fair point. Fair point. Maybe Elon Musk is onto something. He's trying to tell us something. And he's saying it kind of vague, but giving you a fairly clear answer. There are people on the inside fighting like hell, tooth and nail, to make sure that their involvement with the Epstein list, the Epstein Island, and all the acts that go with it, like they just never come to the surface. But I say, let it burn. Let it all burn. Let it all burn. Who cares? If you're involved in the sex trafficking and sexual abuse of minors, in my opinion, I don't even care if you're brought out into public and you were raped with a broom handle, tortured, and then put into a trebuchet and just launched into the side of a damn mountain. That's what should happen to these people. But that's just one of many ways I have thought up to deal with these people. And you will absolutely, look, there are people out there who could disagree with me. Violence isn't the answer. You can't torture people who have, look, if you're going to take someone's life away by sexually abusing them, think about what that does to a person. You're taking away their innocence, their right to life, their right to develop as a human being in a healthy way. Fuck that, I say. These people need to go. They need to go. There's no second chances, in my opinion. There is no second chances. There's no excuse. You're done. You're done. Period. And also, I mean, getting back to the clip I played of Elon Musk and Joe Rogan, to address what Elon Musk said about powerful people being involved, one of those powerful people that was alleged to be involved was Prince Andrew. Does anybody recall Virginia Giuffre? So this lady came out. She came out to testify, to tell the world about what was going on, and specifically about Prince Andrew's involvement. And you know what just happened recently? She was suicided. U.S. News right here. Virginia Giuffre, one of Jeffrey Epstein's most prominent abuse survivors, dies by suicide. And before that report, Epstein victim and Prince Andrew accuser, Virginia Giuffre, was reportedly hit by a bus traveling at 115 kilometers per hour and has been given 4 days to live due to kidney failure. How coincidental. So, what was Virginia Giuffre saying? Well, I'm about to get to that. But before I get to that, I want to make it clear. In one of her social media posts, this was on November 12th of 2023. She stated, "I'm sorry to tell you that I have given the authorities in 6 different countries all the names I have even and still am fighting for my depositions to be released so that they can be held accountable. I'm just one person. I can't take on the 1%ers by myself." And then states this, "I do want to live a lengthy life." So that being said, here's a clip of Virginia Giuffre. And I hope I'm saying that correctly. I don't recall if it's Giuffre or Giuffre. So please don't hold it against me. I mean, no disrespect whatsoever. But here she is in an NBC News exclusive talking about the involvement of Prince Andrew.
I was so young. Ghislaine woke me up in the morning and said, "You're going to meet a prince today." I didn't know at that point that I was going to be trafficked to that prince. And then that night, Prince Andrew came to her house in London, and we went out to Club Tramp. Prince Andrew got me alcohol. It was in the VIP section. I'm pretty sure it was vodka. Prince Andrew was like, "Let's dance together." And I was like, okay. And we leave Club Tramp, and I hop in the car with Ghislaine and Jeffrey, and Ghislaine said, "He's coming back to the house, and I want you to do for him what you do for Epstein." I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that even royalty were involved.
Oh, wow. Huh. And she just suicided herself, right? Just randomly was hit by some bus, given 4 days to live, and then committed suicide. Right. Just like when they said that the suicides of multiple famous people, talk about musicians and celebrity chef himself, Chef Anthony Bourdain. I'm referring to DJ Avicii. We're talking about the lead singer for Linkin Park, Chester Bennington, the awesome singer Chris Cornell, and again, Anthony Bourdain, who all around the same time, like consecutively, all died the same exact way. And there were claims, or they were saying, well, Anthony was on video actually saying that he was involved in something where he was about to expose people. And it's been rumored or said that they were involved in a child sex trafficking documentary, and where they were about to spill the beans or say things and release them. And then they were all suddenly just suicided, or they committed suicide. And then what happened? Big media around the world suddenly went out to debunk the stories and the rumors, saying all this never happened. There's no evidence that they were suicided. They killed themselves and they were never involved. All to the contrary of what was stated by each one of these individuals. All of them made pleas while this was going on, and even stated that, I mean, in Anthony Bourdain's case, he was loving life. He got into jiu-jitsu. He was eating healthy. He lost tons of weight. He was happy in his relationship. He loved his daughter, and like he was living life to the fullest. And then suddenly he wanted to commit suicide. All related to this, and we're supposed to believe that Virginia Giuffre here, or Giuffre. You know what? I apologize for that. Let me go ahead and verify how to pronounce her name correctly.
Virginia Giuffre.
All right. Well, hell, I was way off. Virginia Giuffre. So massive apologies. So Virginia Giuffre. Going forward, I'm going to say this correctly. I'm very bad at pronouncing names sometimes, so I absolutely mean no disrespect, especially when it comes to her. But again, we're supposed to believe that Virginia Giuffre went ahead and decided to kill herself after saying she wants to live. She wants to live. And she put this post out. I am making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form am I suicidal. I have made this known to my therapist. If something happens to me, in the sake of my family, do not let this go away and help me to protect them. Too many evil people want to see me quieted. Yeah, she committed suicide. Sure she did. Yeah. So where does that leave us? Are we supposed to believe that they're reviewing documents? Or does Pam Bondi and Kash Patel know that if they release any of the evidence to the general public, or even make certain arrests, that this whole house of cards is coming down? Everything's coming undone. And that may even include them. That may include themselves. Not because they've done anything, but due to the powerful, nefarious forces that are involved in that play. The things that they can do to others who expose them. And the fact that everyone is so scared of revealing these evil people for who they are and are afraid to bring the system down. Look, I get it. Nobody wants to die. But at what point do we have to call it? At what point do we have to sacrifice ourselves? And look, that's a big ask. I know it's a big ask. But at what point is anyone going to have the balls to step up and sacrifice themselves for the greater good of the many? We're talking about people who will never get a chance to even live a life, to live a healthy life, a life that they deserve to live for being born. I mean, they're born into the world. They are scooped up. They're groomed. They're trafficked and forced into sex slavery at ages that have been reported as young as 6 years old. I mean, that's okay. That's okay. But hell, why? I don't want to expose that because it's going to upset my daily Starbucks routine and my ability to get my latte. I can't do that. Why would I want to do that? We got to be very careful because there's powerful people who donate millions of dollars to foundations and government organizations. We can't expose it. No way can we do that. Or is President Trump himself involved? Now that is the big question right now, right? We don't want to believe it. I don't want to believe it. But at the same time, if he is, I say fuck him. Let him burn too. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with that whatsoever, but that's still my opinion. Okay, well, this is where I'm going to leave you. This is where I'm going to end the show. I want you to do your own research and ponder this entire thing. And let me know what you think. Please like, share, and subscribe to the show, and have yourself a great day.
I wanna taste your content, hold your breath and feel the tension. Devils hide behind redemption. Honesty is a one-way gate to hell.